So sweating and dying is a typical day for you.
That is a typical day. I typically sweat and dye in the morning. So I lived in Paris for a month, opened my door and like there was the Eiffel Tower and I was like, oh, like this is wild. But I was able to see like, you know, like a volcano erupting, right? I just remember seeing lava coming out and me being like, oh my God, I hope those hikers are okay. Like we all need shampoo.
I don't.
Oh. Is there a way that I can work and play? Like I came up with this idea of like, what if? Get rid of all of your furniture, get rid of all of the clothes you don't need, get rid of everything, and just figure out how you can travel and work. And then it felt really good. It felt very vacation-y. That's, I think, one of the biggest benefits for being a digital nomad. Hi, my name is Laura Gajda, and I'm a registered dietitian and digital nomad. I am 31 years old and currently in Buenos Aires.
And how long have you been a digital nomad? What does being a digital nomad mean to you?
I've been a digital nomad for a year and a half, and it's a beautiful life. I've kind of just been able to bop all around into different countries, explore different cultures, explore different things, and really just kind of have some time to kind of get out of my element and get out of my comfort zone and really just explore the rest of the world. So being a digital nomad, what it means to me is that I'm ready, or I'm looking for adventure and I'm looking for exploration and I'm looking to kind of like work on myself with that too and explore different cultures and explore different things and have new experiences and be around different people. And that's, I think, one of the biggest benefits for being a digital nomad for me.
And what do you do for a living to sustain this lifestyle?
Yeah, I'm a registered dietitian, so I have my own practice. I see clients one-on-one. I also see other dietitians one-on-one too, so I kind of help them with like a coaching style because I work primarily in mental health and I work primarily with eating disorders, and that can be something that can be really tricky for a lot of dietitians who don't get a lot of practice in working within the realm of eating disorders or within mental health. So it's kind of a different experience being a dietitian than being, like in the tech industry, like what you'd hear. Because I've met one other dietitian that is actually a digital nomad. She was on my first chapter ever as a digital nomad, not with Wi-Fi Tribe, but with Nomad Collective. And her and I were like, wait, what? We're both dietitians. So we hung out a little bit and we were able to kind of collaborate on some ideas and some thoughts, because I don't know if I know anybody else who's in the health professions that are doing what I'm doing with digital nomad too.
Yeah, I was going to say, your profession is typically done face-to-face in person, but it sounds like you found a way to do it digitally, remote, and be wherever you want. Is that right?
Yeah. I think the pandemic really shaped and shifted a lot of the healthcare industry too, because now we have a lot more connection that we can find just telehealth wise too. And I've really been able to take advantage of that in a way too, where as long as I have a good internet connection, I can see anybody anywhere, as long as I also get the time zone right, because that is a thing, right? But I would say that like, this life is very interesting, kind of being a digital nomad and being in the healthcare industry too, because I don't really need more than just a computer or more than the internet to kind of be able to see my clients and be able to kind of help treat them and be a part of a different experience for them too. I also have access to like a digital scale too. So some of my clients have a digital scale where, because I work in eating disorders, I don't always want them to see the numbers. So I have like a numberless digital scale that I'll get my like data from. Or I will get faxes from doctors too. And all of that kind of just like is all done electronically. So there's really no need for me to see somebody on a one-on-one in-person basis. And if I have any like fears about where they're at or what is going on in their journey, then I'll refer them to something different, maybe like a higher level of care or something.
And just to clarify, you mean like a body weight scale, so you can see their measurements without them seeing, so it gets sent to you somehow?
Yeah. It's a digital scale that doesn't have the numbers on it, because that would be probably pretty triggering for my clients too. So once again, all just done digitally, right? Which is a world that didn't exist
Very cool, yeah.
5 years ago, you know? So the pandemic really shaped and shifted like what I did too. It was very easy to also have a transition to go from office to video to very easy.
And what was that process like from transitioning to being in person and working your way to moving online, doing everything remotely?
Mm-hmm. It was interesting in terms of like HIPAA compliance too. So in the States, because I don't know who this video is going to reach, right? But in the States, we have these laws. Yeah, here's hoping. They have these laws that you have to like be in your own room. You have to have like a door closed. You can't have windows like open or anything like that, just to protect people's like personal data. And I do have to wear headphones too. And like people can't be like walking in the background or anything like that. So whenever like everyone's like, oh, let's go to a co-working station, I unfortunately can't do that necessarily unless they have a telephone booth or anything. But I like get to be in Buenos Aires, so I have like no issue with like being in my room and closing the door and hanging out there. So it's a bit different. But the transition, like when it started for the pandemic too, was just I was meeting with somebody one-on-one, and then the next day we were like we had my boss at the time was like, you gotta meet with people like over the video because it's too like transmissible. So we were like, okay. And then it felt really good. It felt very vacation-y. And then like now I'm like craving like a little bit of community because it can feel very isolating if I'm only seeing people like in my room without much contact outside of it. So things like Noma Collective or Wi-Fi Tribe have been really helpful and beneficial for me to kind of just create community outside of the one-on-one sessions.
Definitely.
Too.
It sounds like the pandemic really pushed you into this remote position and you kind of just continued onwards with it afterwards.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, like, I've never been a 9-to-5 kind of person, so I feel like I've always valued and been excited about like creating my own schedule and doing my own thing. And luckily with my job, I have that flexibility too. And I have even more flexibility now that I'm able to be remote too. So I'm like, this is nice, you know. And my clients, I was worried about my clients not receiving the best care, but I actually don't feel like that's accurate. I feel like a lot of people are very used to at this point just kind of going telehealth too and going into that avenue and into that area. So I feel like it kind of is like an easier transition for them as well too. I don't feel like I lose a whole lot of rapport. I do love being in the room with somebody who I was treating previously, but this hasn't been a bad deal at all. So yeah.
How many years of experience do you have in this career?
Working with eating disorders and being a dietitian, about 10 years too. Yeah. I was like adding it up the other day and I was like, oh my goodness. Wait, what?
And what does it take to become a dietitian for eating disorders? So
much school. No, I'm just kidding. But I mean, actually that's not inaccurate. So being a dietitian, you have to have a undergrad degree in dietetics or nutrition, and then you have to be you have to do an internship. So luckily for me, my university did they had their internship integrated into their program, so it was really nice. I was able to do that plus also get my undergrad degree. But now it's a bit different because they have a master's requirement, and I feel I just got grandfathered in, which was great. So now they have to do a little bit more schooling too.
And what's your story? Why did you decide to become a dietitian, and why did you decide to become a digital nomad?
Yeah, that's kind of interesting for me. I wanted to be a dietitian in the 5th grade, which is wild, right?
Like most fifth graders?
Yeah, like most fifth graders. But it's so interesting because like nobody knew what that was, and like everyone was like, "You want to be a what?" Dianetics? No, I'm just kidding. But No, I wanted to be a dietitian in the 5th grade because my uncle was diagnosed with diabetes, and he was telling me, he's like, I just met with a dietitian, and the dietitian like helped me out with like understanding how food can affect the body and all of these things. And I was like, what? Like how interesting. And I always knew I wanted to get into health sciences, like, because that's like kind of my family is into health sciences too. So it just kind of flowed all together with that. And then I, like in college, I was like, oh, do I still want to be a dietitian? And I explored some other avenues. And then I was like, no, this just feels right too. So it's always been like a calling or passion for me too.
Very cool. And then what made you want to take this career on the road and do it virtually?
Yeah, why not?
That's my answer.
That's it. No. So I wanted to I've always been a traveler. I started traveling. I did a foreign exchange in the 7th grade. I exchanged with a French person. So I lived in Paris for a month. And yeah, I just opened my door and like there was the Eiffel Tower and I was like, whoa, like this is wild, and I was very small town beforehand too. So it just like really expanded my horizons and made me think just very differently about the world and how much of a world there is outside of my small hometown too. And I just became hooked, and I was like, is there a way that I can work and play too? Like, is there a way that I can do that? And I came up with this, I came up with this idea of like, what if? Because I was sitting in Los Angeles and I was sitting in my like Santa Monica apartment. I was paying an insane amount in rent, and I had a wonderful roommate. So I loved her and I miss her. But I was just like, I need to break out of this bubble. How can I get out of here? And I was like, okay, let's figure out how to like work and play. Let's figure out how to break the bubble. Let's sell all of your stuff. Get rid of all of your furniture, get rid of all of the clothes you don't need, get rid of everything, and just figure out how you can travel and work.
What do you love most about being a digital nomad?
Ooh. I feel like I've met some super cool people. I think that I'm a people person, and I think that people provide growth for you. And one of my main core values is growth. So the more that I can get that, the more that I'm loving it. So I think that like getting different perspectives, learning different things, that's always been a passion. And I think that doing this kind of lifestyle, there's no way you're not going to grow. There's no way you're not going to like learn. There's no way you're not going to like be exposed to different things that are going to challenge your beliefs. And like I said, I'm from a small town, so everyone kind of, not everyone felt the same, but what I was exposed to felt the same. So this kind of gives me an idea or like challenges some of my thoughts and some of my feelings around things too, which seems like cool.
Absolutely.
So,
what does a typical day look like for you?
well, today I did paddle in the morning and it was super hot. So I was sweating and dying.
So sweating and dying is a typical day for you?
That is a typical day. I typically sweat and die in the morning. But I did paddle in the morning, and then I went out and had some breakfast with some other nomads, and we had some delicious food. I'm sorry, I love it. And then I'll start work in a little bit too. I mean, because my schedule is set up by appointments too. Like my appointments are set usually for the week. Like sometimes I'll have cancellations and I'll have a little bit of flexibility. But other than that, it's kind of like my clients are like within a certain range, and I try to provide my clients with enough like headway, or not headway, what do I want to say there? Enough like advance notice to kind of be like, hey, I'm gonna need to change around our hours for our appointment this month or something. I never tell people where I'm at because obvious reasons, but I think like that it's very doable to kind of have like clients in like a certain range, and I see like probably 5 to 6 per day.
That was going to be my next question, is how many clients do you see, and then how many hours would you say you work a week on average?
beat you to it here. So I see about 5 to 6 per day. Sometimes if I take a day off, I see 8 clients, but I know that that's too much for me. In my younger days, right? In my younger days, I could see more, but wait, what was the second part of the question?
How many hours would you say you work a week on average?
Yeah, that's always a challenge one because I have my private practice and then I have another practice that I work with. But my private practice, I work probably 5 to 10 hours per week, just depending on what I need to do, accounting and all that fun stuff, marketing, which is a new thing that I'm getting into. And then also my other practice, probably like 15 hours. So I'd say like working 20 to 30-ish.
So are your client meetings, is that typically 30 minutes then?
The meetings are my own practice, they're 45. Mm-hmm.
And how much does it cost you monthly to live this lifestyle? Of course, it'll depend on location, but depending on where you go, how much would you say you spend a month?
Highly recommend Buenos Aires because I eat out every day, and my meals on average are about $6 or $7 US, which is amazing. And to live this lifestyle, though, I would say it's interesting because I've done 2 different companies at this point too, and they vary a little bit in price. So I would say one was around like probably like $1,800 per month to like kind of like with housing, food, and like just like some basic expenses stuff, right? Like we all need shampoo.
I don't.
Oh. Okay. Some of us need bars of soap, right? That's good. I don't. So, okay, well, all of us need some basics, right? Toothpaste. So I would say that like around 1,800 in general, 1,800 to like $2,000, depending on where you go.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
I know you already talked about this, but I'll ask it again. How often do you eat out as a digital nomad?
Almost every day. So that's also very location dependent too, because when I was in Belize is pretty expensive. So, and like where I was located in Belize was also not incredibly easy to like access restaurants. There was like one restaurant on like the campus that we were on, but that was also kind of pricey. So we had like a local vendor give us like fish and meat and all that stuff so that we could kind of have basics. And then, but like in Buenos Aires, it's probably like, it's every day, almost every meal like going on too, because it's so much easier too. I mean, I would say I do breakfast at home usually, because that's an easy one. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Sure. I find that it's a big part of the travel experience too, is when you can go eat in a restaurant, try the local food, have someone else cook their food for you.
Oh my God.
It's a big part of the experience.
I agree. And I feel like it's also one of those things where you're just like, you know, like you try to recreate some of that stuff at home then too. And you're exposed to more things and kind of like learning different ways and different paths, and like kind of in some of the places that I've gone to, they have open kitchens. So you can kind of like see how they're making things, and every method is also different, which makes it super fun.
And what would you say is the hardest part about living this lifestyle?
Time zones. I have to stay probably within like the US Eastern Standard Time zone differentiation. Like I can't veer too far off, and also I have to remind my clients of like when their next appointment is, so then I have to do the calculation of time zone in my head. I mean, there is an app for that and I do use it, but like sometimes I'm like, oh, I can do it, and then I mess it up a little bit and I'm like, oh shoot, sorry. I think that's one thing. And then another thing I would say is that like sometimes community is so important too. And I feel like there are more and more digital nomads. I feel like that's becoming more and more of a thing, which is so fun and so cool. But sometimes like putting yourself out there can be challenging and be difficult. And I think that comes with the growth mechanism that I was talking about earlier and being a part of that. But sometimes that can feel a little intimidating at first too. And going into a country where you don't really know anybody, and then you're like trying it out, like I got so distracted.
I know.
It's like, but going into a new country and then not knowing anybody and not knowing the culture or the language, I feel like can be really also intimidating. It's part of it, but there is a language barrier with most of the countries that you go to too.
What are 3 of your favorite experiences or places that you've done or been to?
My number one, I was actually just talking about this at breakfast. So coincidentally, here we are. But my favorite thing I've done so far as a digital nomad has been, I did the Acatenango hike in Antigua, and that was probably the most challenging but most rewarding thing I've ever done.
Amazing hike.
Yeah, it's such a good hike. You did it, Ben?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Best hike I've ever done by far.
Agreed. And it's one of those things too where like there's points where I was like, this is so challenging, right? Like, because you're just like going up at an incline and you're just like, okay, when is this over, right? But it was like once you got to the top and you saw the view, and I went on a little bit of a cloudy day, which was kind of a bummer, but I was able to see like, you know, like a volcano erupting, right? Like right near my campsite, not near it safety-wise, but like near it.
Did you also do the hike where you hike down and then up the volcano? Or
no, that was terrifying.
Yeah. It was also very hard because it was literally uphill both ways.
Oh my God.
Right.
How long did that take?
I don't even know. Definitely another few hours because we went for sundown and then hiked back in the dark.
I just remember seeing lava coming out and me being like, oh my God, I hope those hikers are okay.
Yeah.
Because you're literally hiking an active
You get pretty
volcano.
close. It's really cool.
Oh, wow. Okay. I wish I would have done it, but I was also exhausted.
Oh, it was a hard hike just getting there.
Yeah. But I would say that was probably my favorite thing I've done. And then I would say that like in like after Guatemala, my friends and I, we just like continued our journey on with each other too. I had two no past tense. I have 2 good friends that I was able to kind of just go to Mexico with afterwards, and we just went to and just bopped around there for a month. You know, no plan necessarily. We were just like, hey, let's do it. You know, like, and with this lifestyle, you can do that. Yeah, you just need to make sure that you have internet connection and shelter and money and all that stuff.
That's actually my favorite part of living this lifestyle personally, is finding the people that you click with most and then traveling together for a little while and seeing some really cool stuff together. It's the best because you can pick, you're my favorite 2 people from this place that I went to. Yeah. And now we're going to go to this really cool other place, and it's just...
And we're going to create more memories.
Right.
And we're going to allow for that to kind of just like build on each other, which is...
Exactly.
So cool, right?
Which we'll be doing in Bariloche in a couple weeks.
Oh my God! I'm excited.
Where are you going next? What are your current travel plans?
Bariloche.
I keep foreshadowing every single question.
You're like, so in preparation for your next question. So after this, I'm actually going to Chile for a week. And it's kind of interesting because this other triber actually, he wrote probably like 2 or 3 months ago on our Slack channel. And he said, he was like, I think I'm going to stop off at Chile in between chapters, because he's coming from Medellin and he's going to stop off in Chile, and then I'm going to go to Bariloche afterwards for another chapter. And I was like, oh, do you want company? Like, do you want to travel with somebody? And he was like, yeah, that would be great. So we had never met before, but we kind of already knew that we were like cool people because we both got accepted into a co-living community going on too. So I was like, okay, let's do it. You know, so we planned this, and then I came here, and then afterwards, I found somebody else that is also going to go to Chile and do kind of the exact same route that we're doing. So we're going to meet up with them. And so this experience of, it could have been just me going to Chile, like turned into like 3 other people also doing kind of something similar.
That's
which
awesome.
Is like, what? You know, like literally the same map of things that we all want to do,
Sure.
which is so wild.
So cool.
Yeah.
What's your biggest piece of advice for people that are interested in living the digital nomad life?
I would say prepare for some introspective work. Yeah. Prepare for learning about yourself more, and being in uncomfortable situations and being in situations with people. You're not going to love everyone, and that's okay. And not everyone's going to love you, and that's also okay. And it's like, it's a big challenge to kind of also be around people that you're just like, you know, you and I vibe, and then also like you and I don't vibe, you know, and you're around them for a month, and that's okay. And I think that, like, especially with like the Akatanango hike or something like that too, I got so much, like, you know, I'm like, oh my God, I did it, right? Like I had like a moment where I was like, I did not know how strong I was, and like how much of a badass I was in that moment, right? Like, and I did it, and it was completed, and I felt amazing, and you know, all those feels, right? And you're just like, okay, that's like introspective, right? Where you're just like, I learned something about myself in like a cool way.
Absolutely. That's beautiful. Love that. Anything else you'd like to add or share with the people?
I feel like this life is very doable. I feel like a lot of people are kind of scared of, like, you know, like, can I create, or like, can I work and play? You know, can I work and travel, kind of a thing. And I guess I want to be like more proof that that is possible. And I also want to be more proof that like health science workers can be like that too. I mean, like living a digital nomad life as a dietitian, like, and also living a digital nomad life in general, like that's not always the easiest path in the entire world, but it is something that's definitely doable. And it's something that's fun, and it's something that's exciting, and can kind of create like a little bit of flavor in your life too. I think that's what I would kind of love for people to know.
Absolutely. And if there's anything, where can people find you? Where can people support what you're doing? Anything you want to promote or add?
Well, you can find me. I have my own website, so you can book an appointment with me. I can't see everyone in every state right now, but legislation's working on it. But I am for hire, and you can find me on www.nourishothers.com. That's my business, and I really am excited about that. And find me that way. Book appointment.
Amazing. And what kind of people should reach out?
Yeah, that's a good question, because I work primarily with eating disorders, but that's not a limitation that I have around things too. I mean, I love working with general health, work with diabetes. I don't do kidney. That is a thing that I do not know anything about. Do not reach out to me for that. I will refer you out to somebody else. But yeah, general health, wellness, sports nutrition, I work with it all. But my primary focus is like intuitive eating and all of that too. And also I think that like being a digital nomad can come with some nutrition challenges as well. So I think like being in a new space, you know, like nutrition can feel maybe more confusing in a different place too. So I think I would also love to kind of expand into that horizon a little bit as well, and be like a dietitian, digital dietitian nomad. I don't know how I'm going to make that work, but maybe that's in the future, right? So keep looking on my website to see if that's something that I'm going to do.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Well, Laura, thank you so much for this interview. It's been really nice chatting with you.
Yeah. Thank you. This has been so fun. Love it.